It's Natasha.
And Casey.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Please excuse the madness, guys. We are super excited that you are tuning into our 74th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything that's important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. In this episode, we're talking all about how to make family and business work together with special guest Verdel Jones, host of Conversations with Verdel Jones, and the sponsor for this month's episodes on WokeNFree.com. But before we dive deep into the subject, we have a couple of questions to ask you. First, have you subscribed to WokeNFree on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or any of the other platforms we're on? If not, please do, or I'll have to keep speaking this way for the rest of my life.
What type of accent is that? Come on now.
Please also feel free to share the episode with friends and family. Otherwise, I will resort to having to say, but I'm just a baby, a sweet little baby. I can't help myself.
Okay, Looney. Okay. You got your number.
Lastly,
sister.
have you talked to us on social media? You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at WokeNFree. And then lastly, please have you reviewed our show? If not, we would greatly appreciate your feedback on all the different platforms we're on. Again, you will find WokeNFree on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms, which you can see on WokeNFree.com. Now, because we have a special guest on the show, we really want to make sure that you understand who Verdel Jones is. So she has quite an amazing bio. Let's go through it, guys. Verdel and Jeremiah Jones have been married for over 30 years. In 1983, they began dating as high school sweethearts. Aww. And in 1987, Jeremiah joined the U.S. Navy and Verdel attended SUNY Farmingdale. A year later, at almost 21 and 19, Jeremiah and Verdel married and moved to Boston. After a few years in Massachusetts, Jeremiah in the Navy and Verdel finishing up her bachelor's degree, they moved back to Long Island and then began their family. They have two children, Marcus, 26, and Maya, 22. And through the years, they have grown together, grown apart, and grew more in love with each other through not only their unconditional love for each other, but through their devoted friendship. They currently host an internet TV show called Let's Kick It with the Joneses, and they own a production company, Myanmar Productions, alongside their two children. With the Joneses, everything is a family affair. So now Verdel also has some really interesting details in her background I'd love to share. She is the college planning expert and author of The Parent Agent, How to Represent Your Child and Get Them into the College of Their Choice. She's been an educator for over 20 years as a teacher, school counselor, and district level administrator. She also is a presenter, speaker, and continually provides her community with valuable resources regarding various educational topics and passionately presents this information to parents and students. So to learn more about Verdel Jones and her beautiful love story with her husband, please read more about their bio on WokeNFree.com. And with that, let's get to our special guests and our interview with her.
Hey, Verdel. Welcome to the WokeNFree Nation podcast.
Woohoo! WokeNFree, yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great to have you on here. Now, just for a normal voice, each week, we like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode.
You don't say.
Last week we shared, what is your favorite winter activity? This week we are sharing, would you rather live in a windmill or a lighthouse?
It gets more riveting by the day.
This is a good one.
Ooh, I would have to say lighthouse.
Oh wow, you answered that really quickly. Okay, what?
I would as well, yeah.
How'd you come up with that?
I mean, I'm from Long Island, so of course it's got to be a lighthouse.
True that.
Okay, that's fair enough. Man, okay, I thought it was going to be a little tougher.
No.
All right.
For me, sir, I would definitely live in the lighthouse. I love lights, bright lights, and I refuse anything other than bright light in my face. And you, sir?
Okay, mine is definitely the winner, because nobody thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the listeners did. I would go for the windmill, and just because the windmill will generate electricity so I can live off the land, look at that. I don't need gas or anything. I'm going to power everything on my windmill.
Fancy that.
Look at that. I'm going to live like a hobbit. See, that's cool.
Is that the aspiration for the day?
I'll be Frodo in that windmill. Frodo Baggins.
No one is Bilbo, so
Frodo Baggins.
Bilbo is still better.
Oh, but I'll be living in that windmill, living it up with all the energy I got. Just looking at you people in the lighthouse. Once you run out of energy, you're done. Done deal.
All of the Amish are laughing at you at this exact precise moment in life.
Why is that?
Because don't they have those things on their land?
Have what?
Either lighthouses or windmills.
Oh, I mean, all over the world there's windmills, though. We use that to generate energy. Not enough, but that's why I just live in the windmill. I like to get that power on.
Okay.
That's
Fair
really it,
enough.
too. All right, so now let's jump into the topic then. How did you know that you and your husband wanted to get into business together? And how did conversations with Verdel Jones come to be?
Sure. So years back, a number of years back, I was invited to an actual, internet TV show as a guest. I'm an educator, and I talk about college and how to help your children get into college and things like that. So I went on the show to talk about that. And the individual show that I went on, she asked me or approached me, and if I wanted to be a talk show host, and I'm like, okay, maybe. So I decided to do it. And basically, to make a long story short, I just really, really enjoyed it, and I wanted to continue with it. And conversations with Verdel Jones just, came about. I was working with her for a little bit, and then I branched out on my own, and that's how it really got started. I like to, share information with people. It's that educator, kind of in me that wants to share information that people can learn from.
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
And can you describe, just so for WokeNFree Nation, just, how is it a family affair?
Sure. So everything, the Joneses do mostly everything together in reference to any task we have going on, any business ventures. So, when I started the conversations with Verdel Jones, our son was still, I believe he was still in college, and our daughter was still in high school, like her last year or so. And, my daughter's a journalist, my son is a filmmaker. So those two talents kind of, really helped with the process. And, my husband, Jeremiah, is just, he's supportive in everything that I do. So we decided to, kind of make it a family affair, from the editing to the production to hosting. It's a collective thing. So we get along pretty well, which is nice.
Yeah, that always helps.
Absolutely. Right. Now, what would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned so far from working with family and combining business and family?
I would say that not to always, because you tend to ask them for everything all the time. So I think there's a balance that needs to happen, and me being the person who kind of organizes a lot of it, I have to know when to ask and when not to ask, and not to overextend them, and realize that they have other ventures that they're all involved in, so not to overwhelm them with what's going on, but at the same time understand that they have a stake in it too. So I think one of the lessons that we've kind of learned is making sure that everyone's on the same page, having those discussions, and asking each other opinions, and getting that feedback from everyone.
I'd also love to just add to that. When it comes to family time, does the nature of family time then change? Because like for us, we also are like a working family. Right. And we have a couple of projects together, and it seems like even if it's Easter or Christmas, it's like, oh, did you do this? And did you send that? Right. So do you guys experience the same thing as well, where like family time is always like semi-business meeting time? Like
Absolutely. It's like, when we all get together, it's like, okay, did we get this done? All right, well, we're working on it's all the time.
Do you get tired? I think it kind of, to me, it seems a little like you not that you enjoy family time less, but that it's like it's different. It's no longer that it's like once you go down the road, it's like you can't not go down the road anymore, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it is, but like I said, it does you have to have that balance. So like we will go
Hmm.
to we like going to the movies, and my son really loves going to the movies, and he always wants us to go see whatever movie's out. So we'll go together. We'll focus on or do something that we all really enjoy, so go to the movies and go eat dinner. And then we're talking about the movie as opposed to talking about the business. So you have to
Mm,
All
find
right.
those times to,
yeah.
to do some of that, the things that we like we watch award shows, so we like to talk about that and watch those together. And so just trying to do other things that we can kind of have conversations around.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. What are the biggest benefits you think come from combining business with family?
Well, I would say it's, they always have your back. So when I was
Mm,
working, I was doing a show when I first started with Conversations with Verdel Jones. I worked with an individual, and that relationship didn't work out. But when you're working with family, you have to make that relationship, so those relationships work out. So I think it's working with family, especially when you have that good foundation. You can't start it. If we're dysfunctional before we started this venture and couldn't get along, that would have been a
mhm.
problem. But we are able to get along very well. And I know that we can always count on each other, and we always have each other's back because we do it in life. So we bring that into, the business as well.
Mm,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
gotcha. And
Yeah.
to keep it 100, what would you
Hmm.
say have been some of the biggest obstacles or
No,
challenges that you faced with,
that,
combining family and business?
sure. It comes back to that, asking, them to do things. So when you're asking your children or you're asking your husband to do
Hmm.
certain things, sometimes it's not as quickly as you would like it to be.
Mm.
Oh, I know you can relate to that one.
Yes. Yes, yes,
You
yes,
always
yes,
try to tell
yes.
me I'm not moving fast enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Move with
Oh
purpose is
man.
my phrase.
Move.
It's
Yeah,
move
you
with
love
purpose.
that. You love that. Oh boy.
Exactly. So that is like the biggest challenge. I'll ask, our son, hey, can you edit X, Y, and Z? And, he kind of takes his time, so,
Mm,
or Maya, did you, think about this question or whatever we need to do for the show and production wise? And, like I said, I know they have other things going on, but sometimes
mhm.
I think, that is difficult because I can't, they're my kids and my husband. I have to know how to get things out of them in a quick way.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't dictate how other people work. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
think the key there is learning how the family members or the people that you're working with, how they work, and to try to, yeah, like get to them and get the information to them in a way where they're not going to get angry, but they'll actually do
Exactly.
it in the
Right.
reasonable time frame.
Right.
And you don't have to become Cruella DeVille. Like
That's
it's going to
right.
be okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Now, what are the mistakes to avoid when running a family business?
Um, not being on the same page, not
Mm,
having those discussions, not coming together to make sure everybody's okay. Before you agree to do something, you need to make sure you have everybody on board. Because sometimes you get so excited about whatever's going on, with the show or maybe a guest or just a new format that you want to try. So I like to make sure that everybody's on the same page and not commit to anything without making sure that they are actually committed to do it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Hmm.
And I'd love for you to talk also about delegation. Like when you mentioned that your son does filming, that your
Yeah.
daughter is a journalist,
Hmm.
and that your husband is just kind of like all around
Right.
rock support.
Hmm.
Did you guys also like outrightly decide who's doing what?
Right.
Or did people claim it for their own, or
Hmm.
do people wear multiple hats? How do you delegate work?
I just work to their strengths,
Okay.
So one of the things that we also do is production. So like we create like promotional videos and things like that. So what I did is just we're looking at the talents that each of them kind of have and work to their strengths. So, naturally Marcus is going to do the editing. Naturally Maya will do the production, putting everything together to create a promotional item that makes sense because she has those logical thoughts. And my husband does the voiceovers. Jeremiah does the voiceovers. So
Hmm.
he was a rapper back in the day, so we we
Oh,
use
wow.
his
Wow.
so we use those skills, and just his creativity as well. And just you know uh, that's another thing, working with family, you are very in tune to what they can and cannot do. So
Mm,
the delegation becomes really easy because they all have certain strengths, and you just plug them right into their strengths.
okay. Now,
Yeah.
was there anything that you wish you knew before you started your media production company,
Mm,
the TV show, and
sure.
everything in between, and any other projects you guys started?
I think it's just that there's going to be a level of frustration,
Mm,
because it's not easy sharing your vision sometimes with people, especially when like, so I'm really the one who kind of said, I want to do the show, I want to do this, and then I was bringing them on board. So which is fine, and they're on board for it, but I think that I didn't realize how sometimes difficult it could be to put things together, to even when you, like, with a podcast or a TV show, getting the content is so important. So you want to make
hmm.
sure that you have good content, and I think being able to sustain the business as well is also challenging. I think
Mm,
sometimes people are like, oh, this will come because it's great, I'm doing something
hmm.
really great, people are going to love it. But then you have to kind of reassess what you're doing and move a different way. And so I think it's just it's a little frustration there, and
Hmm.
trying to get things that you want to get done and take it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we agree that, like, being, and I think that, so like, the average person doesn't see the struggle that it
Hmm.
takes to like create something. And
Right.
a lot of times, the people that we rave after, they've been doing stuff for 20, 30 years, and
Right.
now they're a sensation. But
Yeah.
that 10-year overnight success is something that everyone really has to work to. It's rare
Sure.
to just literally, I don't think
Exactly.
overnight successes really exist.
No, they don't.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
it
Right.
is challenging. And then with the family, you have more people who have to stay committed to that
That's
dream, and
right.
that
Yes.
grit and that hardcore like,
Hmm.
do or die approach to this.
It's
And
so
yeah,
true.
I definitely think it's challenging. And not everyone has the same resolve, right? So like,
Right.
you could see this through, and then a family member, a loved one is like, you know
Mhm.
what,
I'm
I'm
done.
tired. Like,
Right. Right.
I'm not feeling this anymore. And it's like,
That's right.
wow, like, we could stop now, or next year it could pop off, right? So
Right. It's true.
that's
Very true.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Very true.
What are your last minute words of wisdom for people who want to start a business with their family or loved ones?
Yeah, I think, just going back to that, being on the same page and having that open communication and being honest with each other. And, and making, as we were, earlier was saying, um, it's always about the business. We're always talking about the business. We're always talking about new things we want to do, but making sure that you have those moments where you are just a family and just doing the things that you really enjoy as a family, like going to the movies and being able to talk about other things. We talk about politics all the time. We talk about relationship stuff. So, and a good thing about that is, we can kind of incorporate some of that in other ventures. So we have, we're going to start. We have a show called Let's Kick It with the Joneses, and we're going to make that into a podcast.
Cool.
So
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah. So we're going to be bringing in those topics that we discuss all the time. We talk constantly about a lot of different things. So maybe finding ways to make it fun for your family as well. I think that's really key.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, to add to that, I would say given that for us, we've been doing creative projects with family since I think darn near the beginning of our relationship.
Right, yeah.
I think because your mom.
Well, we've been go even further than that.
Yeah.
We were doing homework together. And
Yeah,
projects
exactly. So
together
we've
in
been,
school.
yeah, I mean, since the beginning of our relationship,
Yeah.
we've been
If you wanna really
collaborating.
think about it.
Collaborating,
So
yeah.
I
work
yeah.
together.
Yeah, so I would
Yeah.
say for us, the words of wisdom is, you know, there is a benefit to working with your loved ones because
Yeah.
you love them, right? And so,
Right.
you know, you're excited to produce and create together. But I would also say you also see the worst
Right, yeah,
of
you
your
can.
family members, right? And like I said, for us at least, I think once you go down that path, you know, it is, I don't think we have a healthy boundary breakdown of like, this is family time versus this is business time. I think for
Right.
us, because we limit how much time we really do socialize generally, whenever we do see each other, it's just kind of a mishmash of everything.
Right. Yeah.
So that is challenging.
It
But
is.
I would say just be aware for anyone listening. If you do want to start a business with family, there's consequences, right? There's beautiful
Yes.
benefits, but there are consequences. So
Absolutely.
as long as you can live with them, as long as you're willing to be frustrated, to kind of figure out how to work well, because just because you have a loved one, working with a loved one is a different nature of a relationship. So learning that art and skill is going to be key, and patience. I think you have to be patient with yourself and you have to be patient with your loved ones, because otherwise you really will be Cruella DeVille. So
that's right. That's so true.
Do you have thoughts too, Khalil, on that?
Well, I guess you should really be open to your relationship changing. I think it's going to change.
Yeah.
I mean, you hope it'll change for the best, but maybe it'll become more professional.
It's
I know that you, Verdel, you have a nice like balance, but for everybody, I don't know if everybody gets that. So you be open to your relationship not being the same. It's going to be different now. You're opening up doors really, so you're gonna see another side to the person probably too, you know, when it comes to business.
It's interesting. It's a lot different for sure.
It really is.
So
it's
now we want people it is worth it though, because you should create, because you don't know what will happen. And if creating something is really something you're passionate about and you want to do it with your family, do it. Like for you know, for all intents and purposes, I don't think we're suggesting to not do it. I just think just like don't do it with your eyes blindfolded.
That's
like this is not Bird Box, guys. Like we've got to be really crystal clear, guys. And like open up your eyes and your ears and your minds, because it's definitely an adventure. And it can be quite a beautiful adventure, but it's an adventure.
But it's good because I mean, usually you know your family members to some degree, so
you definitely know them more now.
You can definitely like pick up on their strengths and use that to your advantage.
You can.
Absolutely.
That's the difference with working with strangers.
You really know their strengths. Like there's no, because with strangers, it's kind of like
you have to learn that.
You don't know what's going to happen. Like they may say they're good at something, but you work with them and find out, wait,
like,
you really don't know how to do this. You just say you do. So with family, you know, it's more upfront and you kind of know the real deal.
You know,
and then that's also interesting too, because there's some people who think they have strengths, and so then that becomes a difficult conversation because they're like, "No, I'm really good at this," and you're like, like, let's stay in your corner. Yeah, this isn't your
thing.
No, we're gonna pray, and we're just gonna. How about you do this? And so again, that's learning how, if you know how to speak to your family, finding a way, because sometimes it is. I would say it's challenging to tell someone, right, you suck, especially if you're related to them, right? Like, so.
Oh, I see.
See what I'm saying? So you have to kind of, where someone's like, I'm really good at this, and it's like,
no, you
and
don't.
I'm a pink elephant, right? Like, so maybe not, right?
Maybe not. It's true.
But it's a convoluted mess of wonderfulness. It's just, but we want everyone, to tune into conversations with Verdel Jones and to champion you and to see what you guys are up to. So where do they go?
So we have we do our show live on Facebook on Strong Island Television. So if you search Strong Island Television on Facebook, you will find us there. I also have a YouTube channel where all of my shows are posted there, and that's Conversations with Verdel Jones. So if you search Conversations with Verdel Jones on YouTube, you will get that as well. And they can always visit my website, which is Verdel, Verdel Jones.com.
Absolutely. And we are super excited to have you on here to share your story and
Thank
what
you.
great work your family's doing, and for you to be a sponsor for WokeNFree this month. So we're super excited. So guys, go tune into Conversations with Verdel Jones, because your girl was on the show.
Yes, and it was such a great interview. It was so awesome. So awesome.
Thank you. I am a silly, wonderful mess, but it's awesomeness. It was for sure. Absolutely.
What should the WokeNFree Nation listeners be on the lookout for this year from Conversations with Verdel Jones?
Sure. You know what? We have a new thing that we're doing now. We're highlighting educators. So last show we had Dr. Steve Perry on, and he was in our educator spotlight. You know, being an educator, I like to, I want to give a shout out to the educators out there. And it's not only people who, teach children, but it's educators who teach everyone about things that are important. And that's really the theme of the show anyway. So that's one thing that we're really excited about. We want to also highlight some people in the community doing community work. So we want to highlight some of those, community activists or community, people who do things to help others as well. And, we're just looking forward to another great year of conversations. We've had some awesome guests. I'm going to put it out there. I want to take it, the show to another level, so more people can get to find out what Conversations with Verdel Jones is about.
Absolutely. And on WokeNFree.com, we will list the information so everyone can go and check out the show and champion you. And that, we just thank you for just being a rock star and proving to the world that family and business works, and it can be a beautiful, wonderful mess of fabulousness.
Yes.
and the power of doing it, and also being a representation as people of color. It's important that we see different families succeeding at things. And so we just, congratulate you and want to champion you for everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. And same to you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yep.
Absolutely. All right. Talk to you soon. We are at that time again. It's the coming of the end of our 74th episode of WokeNFree. Bloody hell. What do you think that was?
It's a ghost.
Clearly.
Who was that who just joined our podcast? Did you hear that voice? I think everybody heard
mentally ill person inside your head.
In my head? Did you not hear that voice as well?
Who here remembers Identity, guys?
I know, you're having an identity crisis.
I declare what kind of madness this is.
Oh, you just revealed yourself. That's why all your voices are coming out. Yes, that is the proof in the pudding.
And guess what? You're married to me. So crazy begets crazy.
And that's why you attract the ghost, right?
Well, who's the ghost in this scenario? You or me? Or are we both ghosts?
Let's ask Bruce Willis.
Why Bruce Willis?
From The Sixth Sense.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that movie.
Blasphemy has been spoken. Never truer than that.
This was quite the episode discussing how to make family and business work together with our special guest, Verdel Jones, host of Conversations with Verdel Jones. Will I leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On our next episode, we will be talking about how to build a business with no money with special guest Tanish Chavers. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you want to be a guest on the show, which you know you do, please visit us on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokeNFree.com. We're very active on social media and in life, if you can't already tell. Please feel free to always connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at WokeNFree. And we are super, super, super excited again to announce that this is the last episode of this month that has been sponsored by Conversations with Verdel Jones. Conversations with Verdel Jones is a show dedicated to sharing conversations that inform and enlighten in the hopes that you learn something that you did not know. The show is live on Thursdays, twice a month at 7 p.m. on Strong Island Television Facebook Live. You can learn all about the show at verdeljones.com. And again, if you're interested in partnering up with us and coming on board as a sponsor for any of our upcoming episodes, please contact us on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do. Share the episode. And make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woke and Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Until next time.
Cheerio!
Oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy.